Tallulah is an architect with a deep sensitivity for the environment. She specializes in cost-effective and sustainable architecture. She has also done research and pilot projects on grey water, root zone systems and dry toilets as water conservation initiatives. She is also deeply engaged in education and an ardent promoter of outdoor learning. She has been raising awareness on the unique systems in Goa called khazans and mangroves in Goa as climate resilient infrastructure. She is involved in various initiatives such as the Kids for Tigers campaign and the Global Shapers community. She has powered several urban intervention initiatives such as the NOMOZO, the non-motorized zone, black spot fixes, the travelling dome, and now the community classroom. She has also developed several ecological projects such as the Eco-Low and bioremediation systems. Tallulah has won several awards for her work as an architect, environmentalist, writer, and an educator. Please join me in giving her a round of applause.
I'm also very emotional and feel very blessed to be here, especially with my tribe. As if Abhay is my tribe, the director here, the principal is part of my tribe, Deepali ma'am is my tribe, Deepali is my tribe, and all my fellow women achievers, and of course you my students, because without you I think I would have done nothing. And I don't know where to start, but I thought like everybody else, I'll share with you my journey and my challenges and what gave me the sources of encouragement and that push. And I'm just an ordinary person, and I grew up, I think my childhood memories are the very ones because of which I do the kind of work that I do today. My parents are from South Goa. My father is from Mashe, Kankan. Is anybody from Kankan here? Okay. So, and all my childhood memories are of just walking around in the wild with my father or with my friends. So in Mashe, right near, I don't know whether you've heard of Galjibaga river, I would often go watch him swim across the river. I would go in a little Thar, Manthariami, Polthori Matha. So, and then he would go to the beach and he would just disappear in the big waves. I would just wait, walking on the beach collecting cowrie shells. I don't know whether you know cowrie shells. It's a snake shell. And then back in Panjim, where I was born and raised, I would explore the khazans of Panjim, Tallulah, Santa Cruz. I think these memories, it was not like we learn in school, right? Amchi teacher aapka santa, this is the scientific name, this is the botanical name. But I think we all as children learn from observation, and that is important. And it is not just environment, but we are also observing the behaviors of those around us. So I completely also stand by what all my colleagues have said. One of the most important things is the values that you are exposed to. And that is what drives the kind of work that you do, or how you behave, or how you conduct yourself. So I think growing up, my parents were different. Okay, my father, because of no schools, he was studying in a temple school. So when I was growing up, my father would talk about all the bhajans and aartis. And of course, he was very inspired by Gandhiji. So there were a lot of quotes from Gandhiji. My mother was very pious, very militant about going to church and everything. And I think this diversity, sometimes you look at it, everybody cannot be equal in terms of their personalities, but I think the diversity in their personalities have influenced me a great deal to be tolerant, to be accepting of so many things and challenges when I look at life today. Then of course, I think that environmental experiences were forgotten when I was in college. And then of course, when my own children were born, I was of course practicing architecture. I think I had achieved enough because as a woman, when I started, you know what an architect does, no? And I was doing design and build. I would go to the sites, taking one cement bag, or organizing the labor, taking a mason on my scooter. And many times when I used to go to the sawmill, there was this Gujarati vendor, and he would say, तुम्हारा घर में और कोई नहीं है, ये सब काम तुम्हें ही करना पड़ता है, okay? I would have clients sometimes saying, "तू क्या गालिना? You are not wearing your gold earrings. You have nobody, okay?" Because these are set, sort of things that women are supposed to do and conduct themselves in a particular way, or traditionally that is what was seen as a practice. And I would have a lot of challenges being a woman, a young architect, handling construction, because there were not many women architects were also building, on the ground. So I think it was the biggest challenge, but I somehow would see no limitations, because I think the way our parents raised us, we are both girls, me and my elder sister, we had no limitation that you are a girl and you should not do this kind of work. And both my parents in the house, we talk about today that men should work in the kitchen, but I am of the belief that equality comes from a woman and a man doing all aspects of life, work at home and work outside. So I think these influences also made me, have an attitude of seeing things without any limitations. I could climb a tree. When I was expecting my first child, I was climbing the building to check, what the work going on the topmost story, without having any fear or, that somebody was going to stop me from doing this. And I think the support that I received from everybody around was an encouragement. My tryst with environmental work began, when I was already having children, and I had a very interesting interaction and meeting with a well-known environmentalist from Sattari, Bhai Rajen Kerkar, and he was sort of very sad about tiger killing that happened in 2009. And I did not know, sometimes we are told, तुका कित्याक पडला, तुझेकडे जातलें, तुका दिसता तुका लोक आयकतलो, will people listen to you if you raise a voice? But I think sometimes our values are such that we cannot do otherwise. We will want to do that which is right, correct? And we will not want to keep quiet. So I and my friend collaborated, and like father said, it's also important to have your company, to have people around you who can encourage you. That does not mean I had challenges. I was reprimanded if I didn't go for mass a single day, and if I had to do community work. Okay, I was reminded about my responsibilities also. But I think there's something inside us that there is a spark, and this is to all the youngsters, that if people around you, especially at home in the family, if they tell you that you should not be doing this because you can go into spaces where there is political interference, somebody will try to play dirty with you. I think finally it is important to follow your heart. It is important to raise your voice. It is important to do something, because if you're silent, it means you're becoming part of all the wrong that is going on. So I started first working with my own children, I wanted to share the experiences that I had as a child with my father. I have two sons. One is near 18 and the other one is 12. And everywhere I went, for me the reference was traditional communities. आमचे पळय villages शेतान कशें काम करता. They are working hand in hand. Wife and the husband work hand in hand. If you look at our forest communities, they are working together. So for me, that was the reference. And many times you see them carrying their children with them, right? They're not saying that, oh, children should not do this. घरातले सगळे काम करपाक जाय. Today, if you ask children, no, I cannot cut fish, I cannot clean fish. How many of you, as boys, do kitchen work? Put up your hands. Who likes to cook? Very good. Very good. Yeah. Because see, by the time you're 18, you need to know basics, life skills, how to take care of yourself and everything. And we all learned. Actually, we were spoiled by our parents, because my mother would say, no, you just study, don't do the housework. But eventually, when there was a time, I had to nurture my children and my family. I had to do everything, I had to learn everything, you know. So today sometimes you think that career is important and career women have to be, you know, in a particular way. But I also cook, I know how to make a tausade, I know how to make patorios. I think it is important to also learn certain aspects of our traditional roles and take it forward in today's life of modernity. Once I started doing this with my children, taking them out wherever I was going, whether they were work commitments or explorations in the forest, I also started taking their friends in the colony, because I found that at that time, 2009, children were getting addicted to computer games and, you know, screens. And even the children who were, I was, in special compassion for students who are taught by or who are termed or judged by the formal system of education to be failures, to be dropouts, to be useless. I feel that every child has a potential to do very well because of our system of learning in English. It's a limitation for many children, but everybody has a skill and every child has to get that opportunity. So I work with children in my community who are called academically weak, and they really excelled in learning about nature. After that, of course, I got opportunities to work in the city planning and everything. I have no expertise that way. I'm an architect by profession, but I'm not like a postgraduate, I'm not an urban designer, I'm not a teacher. But I found my spaces where I could work with children in these areas. And I think that the biggest learning for me was during the pandemic, because the pandemic threw a challenge for all of us. So during the pandemic, I and my colleagues set up something called the community classroom to work with children, especially migrant children. We have a lot of children coming from Nepal because of migration, Bihar, UP, Karnataka, and of course some Goans. And what was the thing? First thing was I was like a principal in the community classroom trying to grab everybody's phone and putting it in the box so that they could concentrate and explore backyards to learn more. We did farming in the last 3 years, also at the time when we were trying to raise the voice. Writing is important. I liked what my previous speaker talked about, and it is important to share your experiences, whether you speak, whether you write. And again, my twist with writing started at the time when I was engaging with environmental activities. Everything that I was writing about became into an action, and I write a number of blogs. And somebody says, when do you have the time? I think women are great at multitasking because by nature they are nurturers. And I'm not saying that boys and men are not, but I think the thing is we have one life. We need to look at all our passions. And the old school was, okay, if this is your profession, you can only do this. But I think we have to give wings to all the things that we like. So whether it is writing, whether it's engaging with children, whether it's working with youth, whether it is activism, I think we should try everything in space for everyone. And in parting, I simply want to say that life is not bereft of challenges. I've had innumerable challenges, personal challenges, and the only space for peace and encouragement was my relationship with God. Today, a lot of youngsters feel that, yes, why should I go to a temple? Why should I go to a church? Why should I go to a masjid? Even then, do I have a personal relationship with spirituality? And that is important because, like Gandhiji said, in your challenges, the true test is when you have to walk alone. When you're walking alone, nobody will be around you, especially when you're taking the less trodden path. And in that, I think prayer, meditation, a lot of these things build your strength. So for me, prayer was my greatest motivator and strength during the times that I had challenges. And I believe that youngsters have a lot of potential. I'm happy to be here, and I look forward that in a few years or maybe even in 1 year, you would be in place of all of us being credited for the good work that you do. Thank you.